they gave us a spot in the annex inside the Chaguanas Borough Corporation. And from there, it just spiraled. And the gentleman from Price Club called and said, come and see this space. He outfitted it for us, and the rest is history.
Nice. I mean, the support from Price Club and Digicel as well, this was significant. It was very significant for the organization. So what does that level of community and corporate partnerships say about the growing awareness around special needs and around the organization itself?
Well, a very much needed support is what I could say, and we thank them once again, and also Maru Benny out of Japan through Sandra Welch Farrell Company. They donated for the CME equipment, and Digicel donated for the OT equipment. I mean, we are very grateful. This is how it should be. Like I always say, people with disabilities are just like you and me, they just do things differently.
Can you go in a little bit and tell us, exactly what does CKFTO, do for these children? What are some of your basic or fundamental drives that push to help these children?
Okay, a lot of people believe or think that we just do therapies like speech therapy, occupational therapy, physiotherapy, CME, art therapy. No, we also do workshops like for teachers, so teachers could identify and be able to work in their classrooms with children with challenges. We also have a puppet show that we go around public schools and primary and Montessori schools highlighting. We have 3 scripts: the disability script, the anti-bullying, and human trafficking script. We also do intensives, so if a child needs intensive, it's not an hour of therapy, it could be up to 4 with different specialities. We go to schools and we provide therapy in schools. So, I mean, we just don't do therapy one-on-one at the clinic. We are out there as well.
Yeah. So, I mean, you have an ongoing partnership with IGT's After School Advantage program. How have technological tools supported your therapy work and educational outreach? I mean, because I absolutely love the puppet show thing that y'all have, and I think educating students, even educating children about other special needs or about special needs children, because I think all children, sometimes a child, and they speak their mind always. So when a child sees another child and they seem a little different, they're not aware, or they're not, they may not feel comfortable enough to ask in a polite way, what's wrong with you, or know how to ask. I think the child with disability wouldn't have a clue to tell them, but it's just acceptance. And with regards to IGT, I mean, we teach the children through apps on tablets, iPads. And it has, because some children, for knowledge, some children do well with occupational therapy, others don't. Others like aqua therapy, and others prefer to do things on a tablet. Others prefer to do sports. So you have to find what the child is comfortable with to be able to provide the therapy, the assistance, the help they need. Yes, we would like to go more, to be more present in schools, so we can teach children and teachers how to deal or how to spend their day with children that are different, children that are special, that is the word, that are special, and embrace them as their own, because at the end of the day, they too are human beings, and they have feelings just like you and me. They just do things differently. Can you tell us what are some myths that we have surrounding special needs children or people with special needs?
That they're non-functional, that
to say a word that they're stupid, that they will never get ahead. I mean, these children are very gifted. You just have to find their niche. You just have some excel in drawing or painting, others in computers, others in marketing or advertising. You just have to find what they excel in and exploit that for their own benefit. Because at the end of the day, they need their independence. Or we also have a social emotional group where we teach children about how to socialize and how to handle their emotions.
Yes. So who is under your care? Is it children with cerebral palsy, children with autism? Like who
all disabilities. All types of disabilities. And we are not a home. We are a center where you come or we go to provide the services. We also had a program supported by Digicel, which was sex and sexuality, puberty, sex and sexuality, where we taught the parents that, listen, these children are going to go through puberty, so you need to know what to expect. So we do a lot of education as well.
So with your corporate partnerships, is it that it's almost subsidized? Is the cost, like, let's talk affordability. What do you expect from the parents of these
We
students?
work on a sliding scale. So we ask you to fill out a financial assistance form, and that way we can help you. And it is, I'm saying this straight out, it's not 100% free. Why? Because experience has taught us when we give our therapies for free, people would not show up. They would not call to cancel, so we can book the next client, the next child in. So some days the therapist would be sitting down for 4 hours without doing nothing, and we said, you know what? No, the minimum we're charging now is $100, and it has worked. They show up.
So how do you see this particular initiative addressing the gaps in care for persons with special needs? Is there an age limit for this?
Well, our vision and mission says that we see children from birth to age 21, but we have clients right now that are 36 years old. So, I mean, we've expanded.
Yes.
So at the end of the day, some of them are like children, and they're human beings, and we have to care for them.
So what exactly is the therapy like? For example, I have a younger brother with Down syndrome. If he was to get therapy, what would the interactions be like?
Well, they will have to be assessed, evaluated by a therapist to see if he needs speech to learn to talk. I don't know if he's verbal or non-verbal.
Yes.
And he will need occupational therapy so he can do things like button, zip, dress, brush your teeth, go to the bathroom on your own. So occupational as in occupation. And art, like I said, we have art therapy, we have aqua therapy. And they need to be assessed, if you understand what I mean. We cannot just say, okay, that child there will need X. We don't know. They need an assessment.
Is there any additional cost for that assessment, or is it the same flat 100?
No, there is an additional cost, which we subsidize as well.
Okay. So what about persons who may just be hearing about this? Because I'm thinking about my particular situation. If we're just hearing about this and say the student is now 15, 16, 17, 18, can they still receive good therapy?
Of course.
Yeah?
Of course they can. Yes.
Would it work?
Yes.
Would it, because if you can get them from birth.
Well, early intervention is key.
It's always better,
so it's always early intervention, because when you have a child that their brain is doing the pathways and they're very young, it's better you target them there. But we can still assist and help children who are teenagers.
Interesting. So you've had a very significant and successful bout of service in your life. You've been involved in many different things. Can I ask why? Why are you so service-oriented?
Okay, let's start from the beginning. My father was a Trinidadian citizen, and my mother Venezuelan. I was born in Venezuela. 35 or 36 years ago, I had a child I had twins. One was stillborn and the other one had severe cerebral palsy because the umbilical cord was wrapped around her neck.
Wow.
And 36 years ago, I had all the assistance publicly and privately in Venezuela. So I came here, I met a group of ladies, Hispanic, and we did a lot of work. We bought equipment for the NICU, air-conditioned the NICU. That was in the early 2000s. Wow. I got a phone call from Laura Pear Eskai saying, I've been seeing you raising funds and you're very successful. Can you meet with me? And I said, sure. When we met, she told me she had a child with developmental delays, if I will support her in founding an NGO. I said, sure. And then when I said, but why? And I did not understand that Trinidad and Tobago then did not have assistance in therapies for children with disabilities. They had one occupational therapy in the system, the healthcare system, but that was it. So you would have to wait over a year for an appointment. So I said, no, man, this cannot happen. I met with her. She registered the NGO, and here we are 17 years later.
Wow. So that is actually pretty amazing, knowing that you would have had that personal experience yourself. So in the broader scheme...
As a matter of fact, all our board members have some type of
personal experience of
personal experience of children with disabilities or friends.
So in the broader scheme of special needs care, what are you hoping the conversation is going to be as you guys grow and you get bigger? What do you hope to inspire people with?
I would just hope acceptance. Acceptance, awareness, and learn that people with disabilities are just like you and me. And let's just take it a step further. I take my glasses off. That is my disability. I can't see you. You understand?
Yes.
So,
yes, acceptance. Because I remember, if I'm not mistaken, having to wear glasses, that was something that was seen as a big thing. Just decades ago, that was a real disability. Now you see people wearing glasses, and it
has become a norm.
It's even associated with you being smart, and
it's associated with a fashion trend. People wear glasses that are not prescribed.
So what I want to see out of Trinidad and Tobago, its population, the government, is education and acceptance.
Yes.
Children with disabilities must be accepted in any school in Trinidad and Tobago. Right now, you go to an international school and you will see children with disabilities like you and me, normal like any day. You don't see that in public schools, and it's very rare that you do see it. They have the principal vouching for it, but there's only so much the principals could do.
So, in terms of that, those advocacy, I mean, what are the advocacy efforts that you all have been taking to get, special needs students integrated into our public education system?
Well, we have written, we have done a certain amount of awareness and advocacy, but in my particular opinion, I mean, we're very late, very, very late.
Yeah,
we are behind.
I would extremely late.
Yeah.
So on your website, you guys have a sponsor, a child initiative. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yes, we would like you to sponsor a child, and that is that funds that come in to the NGO sponsor children who cannot afford the treatments. And obviously you have treatments from psychology to occupational therapy to physiotherapy. So it's a wide gamut of needs. So when we receive those monies go fully towards those children interventions. I would call on the public to please press on the button and donate. At the end of the day, it's for Trinbagonian children who need the assistance, and we, through them, will be very, very grateful for your assistance.
Yeah, I just want to go back a little bit, and I want to ask, you said you all have written and you all have started doing things to get the integration of special needs kids in our public education system. Have you all been getting any sort of response, whether positive or negative, from the government, from the public? What has the reaction been? Do you see this working out anytime in the near future, long term?
The public, the parents, the relatives, I mean, they're on board, but we really do not hear from the powers that be. And they're the ones who make the decisions.
Yeah.
They're the ones who make the decisions at the end of the day. And they are the ones charged with the well-being of the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago and the future. You don't know. We don't know if there's a child out here in Trinidad or Tobago with autism or with any, that could be the future prime minister.
Yes.
That could be the future, I don't know, tech whiz.
Yes.
We don't know. But if we do not afford them the chance to the opportunity to demonstrate that they can, we will never know.
So,
And I mean, they are just like you and me. I continue to say this, they just do things differently. And in a, the words, in a caring society, we are determined by the way we see treat our elderly and our children. And as I said, we have a long way to go.
And even on that, when you said we need to foster this sense of caring, a thought came into my head, is it that we just have a general apathy towards people with disabilities? Like, as a government, is it that we just see them as, there's almost like a lost cause, if I can use that word, and that's the reason why they don't put enough attention on this population?
I just see it as where there's a will, there's a way. And there's no will to see this done, to help. And we signed the United Nations Convention for Persons with Disabilities.
Exactly.
And nothing has happened. When that signature came, I was like, oh my God, we are moving, we are going places. Nothing from accessibility, from schools, from, I mean, everything. Everything.
Yeah.
You want to test it? We also have a program called Simulations, where we come to you with wheelchairs and we make you feel disabled for the day. And we give you glasses so you can walk a little path with a walking stick to see how you feel. And we try to ask you to put things in a container, but we put your hands in socks with foil inside, so making it literally impossible for you to open your hands. And you will feel what it feels to be a disabled person. Try it. Pick up a cane one day and try to go to one of these supermarkets or one of the governmental offices and pretend you're limping, and then call me and tell me how it went.
I love that. I absolutely love that. Can you see this model of care that you guys are extending, this amazing model of care, to other underserved or underrepresented areas? Where do you guys hope to go next?
Well, we've been in Mayaro, we've been in Barrackpore, we've been in Moruga, we've been in Tobago. We would like to be all over the island, if possible.
Yeah.
So,
we are going to begin wrapping up, but for parents who may be struggling to find resources or support, you know, what's your message to them, and then how can they get in contact with the organization for this support?
Never give up, never give up, never give up. It's your child, they deserve an opportunity. Never give up. Give us a call at 628-3268 or email info@ckfto.org. And we can take it from there. We can speak with you. We will send you forms for you to fill out, because we have to determine what does your child present, what types of disability the child may have. If you have a report or an assessment, do send that on the email as well as the financial assistance form fully filled out. And once we have all of that, we can say, all right, this is your appointment. Let's get the ball rolling.
Yes.
That is amazing. Again, that is ckfto.org. Go check them out. Even if you're not just going in as a parent of somebody that's disabled, but if you want to donate, if you just want to lend some support or hear more, definitely go check them out so that you can speak with
Yes, we need the support. We do. All NGOs do. And we're very grateful to Corporate Trinidad. And we also raise funds internationally to be able to cover the amount of children in need through Sponsor a Child. So we are very grateful to Trinidad and Tobago, and we hope to continue working with you for many years to come.
Thank you so much, Sophia, for joining us on the program this morning.
Thank you for having me.
The cause is outstanding. We wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Moving forward and with your efforts and advocacy. Yeah?
Yes.
Thank you.
Of course. We do hope that you have a beautiful day.
You too.
All right.
All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Do you need treatment for obesity or any related abdominal procedures? The community hospital now offers minimally invasive laparoscopic surgery done by an American-trained, board-certified surgeon with over 20 years' experience. Give us a call at 235-5479 for more information.
The Community Hospital of Seventh-day Adventist,
where good private health care is affordable.
FanZone, your reliable, authentic supplier, has just gotten better. You can now visit our website www.fanzonett.com for your authentic wear and collectibles. The only place where you can use both your Visa debit and credit cards. Visit our website fanzonett.com to make your purchase today.
Every word, every line, every paragraph depicts a real moment in someone's life. A father, a sister, a mother, a brother. We at Newsday are dedicated to you, the people, and through independent, unwavering journalism, strive to always bring your stories to life. Because your stories are more than just words. Newsday, independent and credible.
Take some time for yourself or spend some time with the family at Sandy Point Village Hotel. Enjoy our various studio and suite apartments, self-contained with their own kitchenettes and Wi-Fi. We also have our famous 100-foot swimming pool and our beachfront restaurant, The Steak and Lobster Grill. And our location in Crown Point puts us near the center of activity from the nylon pool to the local nightlife. Call us and make your reservations at 639-8533, 389-2378, or email us at sandypointvillagehotel@gmail.com.
Our award-winning show is back, and this season promises to be even more exciting than before. What's Up, Doc isn't just a title. It's a call to action for anyone who wants to improve their health and well-being. Join us on this thrilling ride towards better health on WESN Content Capital.
This is 10 Questions. I'm Andy Johnson. The distance from where we should be in the world in going forward on our commitments with climate change.
The effects of climate change that cannot be accounted for. It's called loss and damage, and we're seeing loss and damage happening so much more in this decade and the previous decade.
The principal term there was this question of the correspondent banking issues.
That is why we're trying to build capacity with this country here, Trinidad and Tobago, and other countries in the region.
Man is not showing any signs of stopping or even slowing down. More than half of the forest in Trinidad is already gone.
All the plants and all the animals and all of the nice clean water and fresh air and everything had to be on this planet for humanity to have a chance.
We have small change when it comes to countries that can take decisions, and when they speak, the world listens.
The General Assembly is a very democratic forum. And Trinidad and Tobago has the same vote as Canada, in spite of the obvious difference in size.
I am Dr. Delphina Ovid, your friendly neighborhood dentist. At Community Hospital Dental Clinic, we offer examinations which include x-rays, basic oral cancer screening, and a treatment plan. We also offer cleanings, fillings, extractions, root canal treatment, and complete and partial dentures. Remember, you don't have to brush and floss all your teeth, just the ones you want to keep.
Give us a call at 235-5479.
The Community Hospital of Seventh-day Adventist,
where good private health care is affordable.
We are tackling the hard-hitting topics, some controversial topics, some topics we sweep under the rug. You don't always have to forgive in a relationship for it to move forward.
If it is you are in a situation where you forgive the person, but to the detriment of yourself, what are you really doing?
It is very uncommon for somebody in the younger age group to have dementia.
Atheists don't not believe.
Is that I can't disprove God, but you also can't prove God, so we cannot have a stalemate.
We'll focus on the woman who's being the victim,
right,
or the man who's being the victim. We exclude the children.
Folks are trying to study the underlying brain mechanism to figure out how does this particular disorder happen in the brain? How is the brain processing this?
Don't worry about AI, worry about humans working with AI.
Are you willing to learn new skills to stay relevant for the future job market? That's the challenge that people are going to struggle with.
And welcome back to the program. I hope that you all are doing well. So we're just going to jump into another conversation of the day. Today we're diving into the mindset and mechanics of business success with someone who's made it his mission to turn vision into reality. He's a strategist, a coach, and the founder of Vision Works Solutions, a company dedicated to helping entrepreneurs and professionals build sustainable, purpose-driven businesses. Whether you're just starting out or you're looking to scale, this conversation is going to be packed with insights that you do not want to miss. Please welcome to our show, Mr. Roel Rollocks. Hi, welcome.
Good morning, Jada, and good morning to all of those tuning in and listening. You know, it's such a pleasure to be here with you.
Yes, and I retain the same sentiment. So tell me, today it is pretty early for us to be having this conversation. So tell me a little bit about how you handle the morning, how you take on your day. What is your morning routine?
Well, it's everything I do is, driven by impact. This morning in particular, as you know, we're post-election. It's a particular type of a morning, but generally, I have to find my center. So for me, that is taking some time to spend, with my creator. Everybody has their own routine, get inspiration for the day. And, there's a little family time always. And that's where my foundation is. And then, of course, you know, you launch into your day, you know. So I don't have any particular exercise routine in the morning. I do most of those things in the evening. So that's kind of like how I start and I jump off, you know.
That's good. I love that start to your day, especially with the family time. That is supremely important.
Yeah.
So tell me, what inspired you to become a business coach? What is that? And how did you even launch your business? Give us a backstory.
Wow. I spent some time in consulting. This would be management consulting. At that time, it was called the UWI Institute of Business, right? We now refer to it as the Arthur Lockjack Graduate School of Business. So back in those days, it was one of the premier consulting institutions, and we spent a lot of time consulting with larger firms, government institutions, as well as some regional institutions. And at some point in time, you know, in the middle of all of it, I paused and I said, you know, well, you know, are you really making a difference? Are you really making an impact where it matters, right? And I started thinking about my own community growing up in Mova, you know, the things that you see around you, the struggle, the hustle, you know, everyone wants better, everyone wants to make a difference.
Yes.
But I came across so many people with ideas and visions, as it were, but they didn't seem to be able to put it together to make it work.
Yes.
Hence the reason for Vision Works. You know, the whole idea that, you know, there's one thing to have a vision and an idea of what you want to do, what you want to accomplish, and we have a lot of that around.
Yes.
But what do we need to do to make that vision real? And it's with that type of a deliberation, I said, listen, man, I need to make a difference where it matters and determine that, you know, I would jump into the area of entrepreneurial support, working with small businesses, working with SMEs to help them realize their goals and their dreams.
So you've been doing this a while, so I imagine you would have been working with people who are a lot more established. But as somebody from Mover, is there a difference in what you see the ideas coming out of Mover versus what you see with those, I guess, more established businesses, more bougie areas, if you will?
In general, I would say yes and no. In the sense that I've come across some of the greatest ideas. In fact, people come to me sometimes and they say, hey, you know, Ro, Mr. Rollox, I have this great idea. And they believe, hey, they're the first person to think about it, right? But I would tell them, listen, what time is it? 6 a.m.? That's about the fourth time I heard that for the morning, right?
Wow.
So we have lots of great ideas. Sometimes, I said yes and no. No in the sense sometimes because of exposure. And exposure makes a great difference. And sometimes because of limited exposure, you know, some of the ideas that we have may not be as expansive, not as well thought of, you know. So I would say it's a mix, but certainly the capacity to, you know, generate these ideas, it's there. I come across it every day, you know.
So your approach, it seems to center around community. I get like community building is a core building block of your company, especially when I went through your website. Can you speak to us a little bit more about that?
Well, one of the things, one of the core values for Vision Works is teamwork. And the whole idea that together each achieves more. And, you know, if we look around, there's so many things that give us a hint of that, right?
Yes.
Any business enterprise that you know today requires a community of loyal people. You call it customers or client base, all right? So the idea really is, how do you get a community moving and a community going to make an idea work, right? So I say it like this, Jada. Where would KFC be today without all the persons that buy KFC?
Yes.
Right? There's an exchange taking place. All right? Money moves from the hands of the buyers into this entity.
Yes.
Right? So really, what they have presented is a faith, and they've made a promise that if we make this exchange, right, you will get value for it. And this is what we need to do in our communities. We need to be able to create that safe space to understand that we have it, but we have to work together. We have to network. We have to connect, because the buying power and the purchasing power is there. It's just that we move down to Port of Spain with that buying power, and we put it into Courts, and we put it into KFC and all these various brands and entities. But what happens back at home, right? And the challenge oftentimes in our communities is that, we don't have a lot of sustainable efforts. Money goes in and it goes back out because the money doesn't stay, doesn't multiply in our community because there are no receptacles.
Yeah.
And those receptacles are other businesses, in Mover, we've had those kinds of challenges. We have businesses there, but we go elsewhere.
Yes.
We don't support our own. So that's one of the things that I'm passionate about, encouraging us to support our own. And we all would be better for it. And,
Yes.
a rising tide lifts all ships. So once we begin to do that, everyone will begin to benefit because they will then invest back into the community because that's where they're from. So I really believe strongly that that is a next dimension for us. And it's something that we have to try to engender more of it, really.
Yeah, it goes back to the whole community thing, and that's why I really like where you're going with this, because it brings in everybody, and that's what we need, especially in communities, especially in Trinidad, but more so communities like MOVA, that kind of community building.
Yes, think about it. We have resources.
Yes.
The resources leave MOVA and the other communities across the nation and go to an urban center, San Fernando, Port of Spain, wherever, you understand? But it's not focused within that community. And if we could do that, we could really make a difference and impact.
All right. So tell me, were there any logistical challenges that you would have faced when you were first starting up?
Oh, I guess the first thing you hear about really is money, right? That's a first challenge, how do you attract money? How do you attract resource? How do you build credibility that people will notice and what you have to offer, I think for me, what helped me, having come from a consulting background, there were quite a number of networks already built, persons who already had some trust because they were exposed to my work and what I'm about, so that made it a little easier. But no doubt, issues of financing, issues of getting the right people on board are challenges, as well as sometimes it could be a little cumbersome when you have starting out as a small business, all the reporting and the record keeping and that could be a little burdensome sometimes. So those are some of the major challenges, but I think having come from a consulting background, it helped make a difference.
All right. So when I went through your website, and because I know you to some extent personally, you work with some notable names as coaches. For example, Mr. Arnold West, Mr. Huey Coffey. What is it like to have an arsenal like that? What does that feel like to you?
Well, I think, again, it comes back to the mindset. And as I shared before, part of my core value is teamwork. We often hear that teamwork makes the dream work. And it's real, all right? If I try to do something on my own, there's a certain measure of success I can have. But if I bring along somebody who is like-minded, you understand?
Yes.
It makes a world of a difference. So because of that, I've been able to build networks. So that's a big part of, I believe, business success. Being able to build trusted networks. And it makes it, I don't want to use the word easier, but there's so much more brought to bear, right? And it also helps to keep you sharp, because they challenge you. Because when you're working with other professionals, they bring in their A game, you bring in their A game, the entire team benefits. So quite a lot of my projects, quite a lot of what I do, I always have some other team member involved. So that has really been tremendous, and it's really made a difference. It's been a real fillip, to push, the work that I do forward. I wouldn't be able to do it alone.
You said a real fillip. Is that a colloquial term?
It's a lever. It's something that helps make a big difference. It's one thing that can make a whole big difference, And I think if more of us think like that, many times small persons go into business and they try to solve everything themselves. They try to do it. Sometimes there are trust issues, no doubt. Persons don't know who to trust, with their idea, with some of the efforts they feel people may either steal their idea or try to control what they're doing and leave them out, right? But once we can overcome this issue of trust, then working together with others will make a big difference. So it magnifies your effort, right?
So even speaking to that trust element, you said that it comes with people having that confidence in you and your skills. So having that background in consulting kind of gives you that avenue. Is there any other things that you look to sort of build trust between the people that you work with, especially when they're now starting out with you?
Well, there are, first of all, and ultimately, once we bring our best to whatever we're doing, all right, that's the best thing that we can do to help build credibility. Do a good job. Do an excellent job. Try to go beyond, right? That's the first thing, right? No matter whatever things we add to it, at the core, we must deliver on our promises. Whatever we promise, whether it's a product or a service.
Yes.
But added to that, there are other gestures that become important to help build trust. That help give a person a sense of credibility. For example, the fact that I have a team of other trusted people says to other person, oh, this is not a one-man show. This person, has a team of people. So just that image alone, as you went up on the site. The mere fact that there's a website, it's not as important for every business, but you have to know, in my type of business, having a website as a point of reference gives a sense of credibility, all right? Definitely being involved in other business efforts, right? All those things lend credibility. So I guess what I'm saying is that in building out a brand, right, we need to understand that you are your brand, in some respects, and that you have to build this brand story out. And as you're making all these gestures, they help convey this sense of confidence that, yes, this is somebody that I can trust, right? So I guess what I'm saying is that once you have to combine these gestures, these things that provide the image, but of course we cannot replace that with having the right type of identity in terms of what we offer. So I think those two things combined help to give credibility,
Yeah. So you would have mentioned a little bit there that you kind of alluding to the fact that you've worked with different businesses. How do you tailor your strategies for clients across, I'm guessing, vastly different industries, organizations, different types of work?
Well, in short, it's ABC, as easy as ABC, right? The first point in any engagement is try to assess the need, and sometimes it's not always obvious. Sometimes what the client believes is a need is not really a need, all right? Sometimes someone will come to see you and say, listen, I'm having a challenge with staff, but the challenge really is the structure. The staff isn't trained properly. The staff doesn't have the resources. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
So you take some time to assess, which is the E, right? Once you've been able to assess what the real challenge is, what the real issue is, then you begin to build a model. You begin to build a model for that client. So that's the B, right? And that model could be anything. It could be restructuring the enterprise. It could be they probably need to do some more research. It could be they need to pay attention to how they deal the softer side of things, Sometimes they need to redo their cash flow projections and all these things because the way in which it was done in the first place, So all of that is part of the model, the customer value chain, the customer engagement, all these things are part of the modeling. And once you've kind of framed this model, then we coach to success.
Yes.
So that's the C. So it's ABC. So you assess, you build a model, and then you coach for success. This is where we literally hold your hands. Sometimes we visiting you in the entity. Sometimes we come and sell with you. Sometimes we walk the customer journey with you, right? So that you can achieve the success that you're looking for, the impact you want to make.
Yeah, I believe that's really lovely. I mean, I've also had the opportunity to engage with your professional services for my own family business, and it has been quite an amazing journey with you. You've taught me a lot, and it brings me back to what you were saying there with the ABC. You tend to use those sorts of acronyms, fun little memory tools often. Why is that?
Well, I guess part of I spent a lot of time in training and development as well. At the Institute of Business, for example, that's really what we did, training. And, along the way you discover that these acronyms, all these things are aids. And once people can remember, make it easier for persons to remember, it helps them to apply later on, So I found these teaching aids or these training aids really help make a difference, yeah?
Yeah. So just let's get into some tips and tricks here, if you mind sharing. What do you believe are like the top 3 qualities that every entrepreneur, let's start with the entrepreneur that's now starting out. What do you think that they need to develop to thrive in the world of business today?
I guess the first thing is passion and desire, right? Nothing beats passion and desire sometimes, you know. Even though you may not be as researched, you don't have all the information you need, but if you're persistent, passion and desire will get you a long way. In fact, it will get you in the door and beyond, you know, a lot of barriers. You'll break over barriers, right? So the first thing I will discern is that sometimes people don't, they say they show a level of interest in something that is easily thwarted by any challenge that they have. But you have to have that passion, that desire. And that starts with wanting to make a difference and wanting to make an impact, right? And if you really truly want to make a difference and want to make an impact, then that passion can work for you. But you have to add to that passion, which will be the second thing maybe, I would say a level of excellence.
A level of
right?
excellence.
A level of professionalism. You know, in some quarters they call it Kaizen, continuous improvement. You have to have that desire that every day, no matter what you're doing, you're going to try to do it a little better than the day before, right? And this is not just for you, this is for with the customer or your client or your sector and industry in mind. How can I do this a little better? How can I do it faster without compromising quality? How can I improve my quality? You must be asking these questions. You must have this desire to always improve and excel and to do your best, right? That would lead you to make decisions about whether or not you need more training, you understand? Whether you might need a coach or whether you need to bring other people along, you know? So having that excellence in mind helps you to pitch, you know, a little higher than what people, the mediocre, right? So I think we then have to combine that passion, that desire, that excellent approach, continuous improvement type of approach. We need to add to that, I believe, working together, which is what we kind of spoke about, networking. Because I really believe that for businesses to survive and thrive today, they need to connect, they need to collaborate. And we see this over and over again with multinational, with large corporations.
Yes.
I like to use the example in energy, right? If you take a BP or any one of these large entities, for them to do their job, there are several and sometimes hundreds of other small entities that make it possible.
Indeed.
So you have BP, but somebody is doing the drilling. Somebody is doing the catering. Somebody is doing this. You have so many entities that make it possible. And I think as small entrepreneurs, we need to start thinking, how can we build out, you know, this network that helps to take me forward? So I would say those 3 things for now, are critical.
I really like that. So passion, desire, a one for excellence, and the last one, I believe, remind me?
Networking, building a team, collaboration,
So it speaks to the broader implication of community. So if anything about me, if anybody knows anything about me on this show, is I love to bring up artificial intelligence. I personally think it is an interrupter. Has it been something that has been an interrupter in your industry?
Oh, well, definitely. Once you're involved in business, you can't escape it. You
Indeed,
know?
yeah.
So I believe it's here, right? There are pros and cons, as with any technology, right? There are a lot of fears about what AI will do, right? In terms of the loss of jobs and stuff like that. And some people believe it's going to make us dumber because we won't, you know, certain skills we would lose because AI will be doing it, right?
Yes.
But I think the introduction of every type of technology has had the same challenge. So that kind of challenge is new. Of course, the scale of this may be different, right? From the time we went from a horse and a buggy to a car, when we went from steam to electrical, you know, when we went from coal, you know, every introduction meant that there are certain jobs that are going to disappear. You know, you see that happening in the States, you know, that challenge with trying to bring back manufacturing jobs. There are certain jobs that are just not coming back. However, right, you would see that every new technology brings other jobs, right?
Yeah.
And already there are some projections in terms of AI. I can't remember the last figure, but there are millions and millions of jobs, right, that are going to be developed to support the AI industry.
Mhm.
All right? And it's the same thing happens with computers, right? There are a lot of jobs in IT that didn't exist 10 years ago or 5 years ago,
Mhm.
right? But because of the introduction of this technology. So I am open, I'm watchful and open. I've used it myself in many ways. It's helped me with proposal writing, with developing projects, you know. So I have used and engaged with it. And I believe it can be a tool, right?
Yes.
If properly used. At the end of the day, we still have to come back and sharpen it, you understand? And tailor it and customize whatever you get from AI, from using ChatGPT, any one of these. But I believe it's something that can really help, especially small businesses, right? But if used correctly, yeah? So I am open and I'm looking forward to taking advantage of the new technology.
Yeah, I mean, and can you see it in any way, possibly even taking your job at any point?
Well, I guess there are certain things, for example, you know, someone may have a particular challenge and it might type into ChatGPT, you know, and it gives an answer. The issue, though, comes with knowing what you're selling, right? And outside of the advice, what I'm selling is confidence and trust, right? People need, and this is feedback that I've got from my clients, they need a confidant, they need somebody that they can trust. AI can't replace that. You understand? AI can't replace that human interaction that's needed, right? So there's some aspects of it that AI may be able to do, but trust and that confidence and that human input is really, really critical, right? And then remember to, you work within a context, whether it is cultural or in the case of Trinidad and Tobago, where we are, we have our own context.
Yes.
So, for example, there are some people that try to apply financial things that they've seen in the States, right? They Google it and they try to apply it here. It just doesn't work the same. It's a different economy,
Yes.
right? So those are some of the things there that individuals myself would still be able to reference and to provide support by bringing context to what AI may give. You understand? So I think the cultural dimension, the human dimension, still makes it necessary to have that kind of support. You know?
From a human.
And sometimes, as you would imagine, you just want to hear someone say, "You can do it."
Yeah.
Just think about your own life and hearing somebody say to you, "I believe in you."
Yes.
You can make this. You know, I'm not sure if AI will exactly do the same, but you know. So I am at the same time, however, I am taking time to retool and to understand, so that I too can be able to maximize it in what I do, right? And learn the new skills, you know. And that's always part of it, you know, being able to learn and adapt, which is another one of the core values of Vision Works. You have to be always growing and learning, and that's what developing and learning is about, you know, learning and adapting to with new skills.
That is important. That's the main thing with AI, learning how to adapt to it. So where do you see the landscape of business and entrepreneurship in Trinidad heading in the next 5 years?
Well, I think the reality is clear, and this has been said. I think no matter whether you have a job or not, everybody realizes that, you know, you need to do something a little extra. You understand? Just to survive. Survival alone demands and compels that a job will only get you so far.
Yes.
Right? Governments have recognized that there's only so much that they can do to support in terms of employing person, right? So from a governmental perspective and from a personal perspective, we see that converging trend that developing your own business idea, your own business concept to help support your financial goals and dreams is a reality. And in the course of my work, I meet persons who are getting into business from every level, from the CEO to in the largest conglomerate right down, right? Everyone is seeing this need. So just if you just look at the maths, Jada, if we just look at what inflation is doing to our money, right? What the kind of interest you're earning in the bank, what it takes to buy a home, right? To get a home is $1 million plus. Just to get a home, you need 2 incomes.
Just to get a shack.
You understand? So just the reality says to us that, listen, I need to do something else. But outside of that need, there's also the reality that people are awakening to the fact that they're wired to make a difference. And this is what we say at VisionWorks. We are all wired to make a difference, wired to make an impact. There's something, there's a call, there's a deeper call rather than a job, rather than just, pushing people, whatever it is. And there's this awakening taking place. And people are realizing that we have challenges and issues as a society, right? And this is why, for me, impact, right? And the whole idea of impact is what's going to take hold. People are realizing that we need to make impact in our communities. We need to make impact in our lives. So people are, all sorts of ideas are being awakened. So outside of the need to just survive and make money, people are realizing that they can make a difference. They were wired to make a difference, and they need to get involved. So I believe that trend will continue, and a lot more persons are contemplating businesses, getting involved in a business and so forth. So I see that as a bright prospect that will continue, not just here, but across the globe.
So what's next for Vision Weeks?
Well, we every day we are in search of connecting with persons who have a dream, and maybe the person said, listening now, you have this dream, this big idea, something you've always wanted to do, all right? So we continue to seek out to make ourselves available to persons like that. One of the efforts that we have made in recent times is to join forces with another entity that we're a part of called Assuage Business Development Limited. And at Assuage, our effort really is to extend our reach to the globe. So that's kind of like where we're at right now. We're right now building partnerships in the region. We have some partnerships established in Guyana, in Suriname, in Barbados. We've done some work in Qatar. We've been looking at some things in the European market. And all of it is with the aim of getting our local businesses exposed, right?
Yes.
Right now we're building out some networks in Nigeria and Ghana. So I would say that's the next horizon for us, to get more businesses looking at the globe and looking at where they can make an impact beyond Trinidad and Tobago, even beyond our region. So that's another encouragement I like persons to look up and look beyond and see that there's a globe, there's a world to impact, and we can do it here, right? From where we are. So that's a little bit of where we're currently focused.
Yeah, so you yourself are scaling Vision Weeks.
Definitely.
Yeah.
We, so for example, right now, we have all these persons that offer educational services, right? All these schools, all these institutes. And we've had this expertise here for quite some time. But it's time we start thinking about exporting this expertise, because you can't export a service.
Yes.
It's not only a product, right? So we're in the midst of helping entities to put some roots down, right? And we're actually working on a project where with a client to have them establish in Nigeria to offer some of the educational services that they provide here. So that's kind of like what has us excited about connecting with Africa and other places.
That sounds lovely. I love the growth in that direction. So how can people get in touch with you if they are interested?
Well, they can reach out to me. I'm WhatsAppable, right? They can get me on 280-8285, They can call me and connect or send a message if you think it's too late or on the weekend. Just send a message and we will respond. Of course, you can check me online at VisionWorks Solutions. They can check me there, all right? Leave a message, send a request there as well, all right? I'm also on Facebook. You can get me there as well as LinkedIn. So you can check me, and any one of those, just type in VisionWorks and you'll see me, all right? The fastest route, of course, is the WhatsApp number, so they can get me there as well.
So finally, for someone who's watching or just has it on in the background, maybe listening, that they maybe they're interested but they're unsure of what exactly your offering is, can you just wrap it all up to let them know what is it you're going to give them?
what we are focused on is creating and delivering impact, right? And that impact is at the individual level, it's at the SME level, and even at the corporate level, right? At the individual level, we focus on helping persons improve their productivity. We help persons improve their selling skills, all right? Maybe you're in a particular area and you want to improve your selling skills, maybe for you or for the company. Maybe you're contemplating business and you're not too sure what the steps are, and you want someone who can trust, can take you from registering your business all the way to finding markets, all right? Maybe your SME already established and you're growth focused and you want to take it to the next level. You want to expand your market, you want to find new markets. We're here to help. Or maybe you're a corporate entity and you want support in terms of strategic planning, doing market research. All these are some of the areas. So all of those are with the aim of impact, making a difference, helping all those entities not only be profitable, but make a difference in their area. So whether it's an individual, an SME, or corporate entity, we can help you make a difference.
All right. Thanks so much for that, and thanks for coming on. Just wanted to recap the number. It's 2808285.
Correct.
2808285, and if you want to just search them up online, it's visionworks.solutions, or you can find them on social media, VisionWorks. Pretty simple, VISIONWORKS. All right, thanks so much, Rolf, for joining us all here today.
Thank you, and all the best to your viewers and your listeners. And I want to encourage them to always be looking at impact as the real place we want to be at.
Yes.
It's not just about making money. What is that money doing? You know, how are lives being transformed? What are we doing to our community? What are we doing to our environment? Think beyond just the dollars and cents, right? We are all wired to make an impact. So join us, let's make an impact together.
All right, lovely to hear that. Again, thanks for coming on, and do have a beautiful day.
All the same to you, all the same to your viewers. All the best.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay, so that was Roll Rolex of VisionWorks Solutions. As you guys know, today is Wednesday, and it is Wild Wednesday. Be prepared for what we have in store for you, and we'll be back with you shortly. Stay with us. Bye-bye.
My name is Dr. Stephen Carroll, the CEO at Community Hospital of Seventh-day Adventist, and we are committed to making good private health care affordable.
For all your medical needs, including dental, radiology, laparoscopy, behavioral and mental health, along with many other services, contact us for more information at 235-5479.
Community Hospital of Seventh-day Adventist,
where good private health care is affordable.
This is Face of Sports, WESN Content Capital. How you felt about the kiss on the lip?
That's the business. I'm nothing to do with that.
I find that was distasteful.
The national senior team, whether you like it or not, that is the model for all other teams to follow.
I'm assuming that the regional requirement may be a much stricter requirement.
This is not about Pro League and Super League. This is a league run by the Normalization Committee that I'm responsible for.
Nobody expected FIFA to fund this arrangement.
If we don't get a professional attitude towards this, we are doomed for failure.
You break the balance, trip the leg, control the body.
They ain't gonna stand put forever.
Why you want the Chiefs to lose so? Why you want the Chiefs to lose so?
They already have two. Lamar don't
Why?
have.
You're jealous because you know the Chiefs getting closer to the Patriots. Let's go to the last part.
No,
of the
not no.
Let's go to the last part.
Money is something we all deal with, but how many of us truly understand it? What if you could make better decisions with your money? Decisions that secure your future, protect your family, and bring you peace of mind. I'm Darren Jacobs, and I'm here to help you make sense of your dollars. Welcome to Dollars and Cents, the show that breaks down the financial world in ways that matter to you. No jargon, no confusion, just real conversations about money, your money. So join me every Wednesday at 10 a.m. on WESN for Dollars and Cents.
Pastor J, I want to get a tattoo.
You really
respond
wanna-
to me. Respond to me.
you?
How you would respond to me?
The first question I'll ask is why?
Controversial taboo topics.
We get so consumed by church, we forget that we have to live the life of being a Christian outside of the Sunday.
Like you say,
services.
we think going to a service makes us a Christian.
Exactly.
Right.
Right, so here we are about to hear the second time Pastor J wanted to take a tattoo.
Would have been late last year and early this year.
Oh gosh.
Hope Unfiltered podcast with Pastor J and Ren.
You are watching Strictly Legal on WESN Content Capital. Just give an overview of what exactly is that split arrangement.
Nah, you don't need to register nothing. You don't need. We can do that another time. But then it becomes a hit, and then everybody starts to want to claim.
The laws that predate many of the independent countries' constitutions are going to be those colonial laws.
We know there are an infinite amount of circumstances that would lead to a murder.
I have a great idea and I have a great concept, but until it's actually expressed, it does not become intellectual property.
Accomplishments or targets of a forensic accountant is to quantify what may have been lost.
They believe in different criminals and we manipulated the law and we exploited the system.
A responsible journalist will reach out to the person who they have the information on for a comment.
We are tackling the hard-hitting topics, some controversial topics, some topics we sweep under the rug. You don't always have to forgive in a relationship for it to move forward.
If it is you are in a situation where you forgive the person, but to the detriment of yourself, what are you really doing?
It is very uncommon for somebody in the younger age group to have dementia.
Atheists don't not believe.
Is that I can't disprove God, but you also can't prove God. So we kind of at a stalemate.
We'll focus on the woman who's been the victim,
right,
or the man who's been the victim. We exclude the children.
Folks are trying to study the underlying brain mechanism to figure out how does this particular disorder happen in the brain? How is the brain processing this?
Don't worry about AI. Worry about humans working with AI.
Are you willing to learn new skills to stay relevant for the future job market? That's the challenge that people are going to struggle with.
All right, welcome back. And as you know, what we've got in store for you today, it is Wild Wednesday.
We're always excited for Wild Wednesday.
Yes.
So
Naomi and I are tackling something today. Yes. So as always, we have Mr. Ricardo Mead with us. I'm gonna cut to him and let him take over for what we've got in store for you today.
How are you this morning, Mr. Mead?
I am doing absolutely wonderful. Good morning to my lovely ladies here hosting me on Wild Wednesday, and to our lovely audience, followers, listeners out there under WWW. It's Wild Wednesday. So without much ado, let's get wild. Let's get wild. Bring the wildlife on the stage.
We're always so excited to see what animal is joining us on Wild Wednesday. So this morning it's actually quite a beautiful creature, I must say. So let's no, not you. But can we introduce this creature, please?
Well, first of all, I'm going to put on my special glove. So I know the audience out there knows what is coming up. The glove is a raptor handler glove, so it's a raptor or a bird of prey, much related to the velociraptors of prehistoric times. So with me this morning is a bird that many people believe to be one of the most spectacular looking birds of prey anywhere in the world. When my foreign friends see this bird, it's like, wow, what bird is that? Can we have that in our country? Is that in your country? So with me this morning, without much ado, is Snow. Snow is just going to step up onto the glove here. Step up, Snowy. And make your grand appearance here.
He is so gorgeous. He looks even bigger than, I mean, from on the camera, he looks massive. He's huge in person as well, but it's just the ratio from him and your head. So tell us, so what is Snow?
Snow is a white hawk.
Okay.
It's called a white hawk now, but the scientific people are going through some issues, and I think by the end of the year or early next year, they will come up with a different name for Snow.
Okay.
But for now, it's still a white hawk. And it is native to Trinidad, not found in Tobago, found also in South America. It's not a bird that's of any particular interest with regards to its status being endangered or anything, so it's fairly widespread. The problem we have is that it's this bird's beauty is what creates its problems. This bird in particular has many problems which you may not be able to identify, so I will point out. When he came in, he was very small. Someone brought it into us. I would say it was probably 90% dead. Only 5% life basically left in this bird. And we fought for him because it's really one of our favorites. Someone got it off a nest as usual, fell from a nest, and they decided, oh my gosh, this beautiful bird, I'm going to mine it. And it always takes me back to what I always tell Trinis, mind your own business. Leave the wildlife to the professionals or leave it in the wild. So even if the animal has a situation where you believe it needs help, are you qualified? How many courses did you do? How many years of experience have you had maintaining, preserving, fixing wildlife? Do you know what the problem is with the animal? And if your answer to any of these questions is no, drink some water and mind your own business. You know, or give us a call. That's it, simple as that. Give us a call, 24/7, free call. Well, it's not free, your network will charge you for it, but we won't. Okay, and we will provide the assistance. Sometimes we can do it over the phone. Do this, do that, do the other, and they call me next day. Oh my gosh, Mr. Mead, they came and the parents flew off with the baby and everything was wonderful. Or if we have to intervene, we do our best to get the animal back to its original condition, rehabilitate it, and then it goes back into the wild. So this person got this bird as a nestling and decided I'm going to mine it, feeding the bird a constant diet of liver. Chicken liver. Now I tell you as man, you put liver in front of me, we vex. We're going to have a problem. All right? So imagine this is all that this bird, developing, growing as a young nestling, had to eat. It had so many developmental problems. Its feathers weren't growing out properly. And the point where they brought it to us, the bird couldn't stand. It could not stand. The body was weak now. We were very much afraid that something called metabolic bone disease would have stepped in, and at the slightest trauma to the body, it would have broken a leg, a wing, its back, or something like that. Because without proper diet, without the calcium, the bones, which have to grow very fast, okay, so they will try to grow fast, but without the density and the calcium deposits being put down, they will be very thin, very weak, and the bird can literally just crush itself on its own weight. So this bird was a total mess and had to be force-fed for a week, fed emergency food. We had to blend up rats and mice and all sorts of other nutrients in the blender, which my wife no longer uses, and tube-fed into this bird. And eventually it was able to stand. That was the first great sign of progress, standing, because this bird was just flopping all over the place, rolling on its back and its side, standing. So we knew that there was some progress. We saw the weight gain, we saw the standing, and then the amazing thing, we saw feathers starting to pop out. It takes a lot of nutrients for the birds to pop out feathers. It seems simple, but it happens with us humans too. Whenever we are ill and something is wrong, one of the first things that happens to us, our nails and our hair. It doesn't have the luster, it doesn't have the shine, it doesn't grow, it starts to drop. Right? So just think of people who go through chemotherapy. That is a brutal attack on your body, and the body gives up the hair follicles and stuff like that. So this bird, when we saw feathers popping out, we said, yes, something is working, we are going in the right direction. And now, almost a year and a half later, the bird has come back tremendously, not 100%, because the bird still has a major problem. For a bird like this, a bird of prey, to function as a bird of prey, he has to know he's a bird of prey and function like a bird of prey. He has zero strength. He probably has his strength in his legs, but he doesn't know that he can kill with his legs.
Right.
So this is what he kills with. But instead of that, I mean, I could have just easily have had this bird on my regular hand because it is so gentle. So he puts his foot on you and it's like, I don't want to hurt you. When it's supposed to be, I'm holding on because this is my killing force. And even when he tries to like sort of peck at you, it's a joke. Ow, ow. That's a little harder today. You're getting there. But yeah, you should have ripped skin and I should have been, oh my gosh, no, you're killing me. He's just not doing that. But we're taking steps, slow steps, to bring this bird back to a level of normalcy. I mean, his mind was so messed up. One of his toes here is messed up. And what happened? Yeah, the toe's messed up. What happens is that he got food on that toe. And he's like, oh, look, there's food. And he started eating his own toe. The bird is messed up. Okay, so, but he has come a long way. He looks beautiful. When you saw him before, you would not have said this bird is beautiful. Like, ew, what on earth was that?
So what are these steps y'all would have to take to get this bird back to being an authentic hawk?
Well, he's gotten the physical part down.
Yeah.
Now it's basically the mental part through training, doing literally pop-ups for him to start using the wing and to understand that, hey, see, he got the beak now. Now he's crazy with the beak. He's showing off that he can use his beak. Literally pop-ups to get him to fly up because he has no wing strength.
Okay.
Okay, so the idea is put him on the ground, get him to pop up, put him on the ground, get him to jump up to the glove. So he starts using that wing in a way that really embraces flying and gets him up. And once he learns, he's like, wow, look at these things. I can fly with these things. I can go from here to there. And he will, once he gets into the routine of doing it, he will continue doing it. And with that, his wing muscles build up, his pectoral muscles, his chest muscles build up. He's going to breathe better. He's going to have more endurance. And slowly along the way, this bird will come along until it starts to fly. This is still not a flying bird.
Yeah. Are y'all also training him to catch his food? So the mice.
He can't catch yet because he can't really fly.
Yeah.
But what he's getting right now is whole foods that are stunned or killed. So he understands this is what food is, not just pieces of meat cut up. So he can recognize a mouse. He gets quite excited for mice and rats. And he can grab them with these talons now, and he can rip it apart with his beak. So that is the progress. So the next stage now, you put them together, flying, food, flying, food. I can fly over there and get my food and use these things to kill it and then use my beak to rip it apart. So it's slowly trying, ooh, yeah.
Ooh, what have we called that?
Yeah. That's why it's always good to not let him face the back end to anybody. They are quite capable of projectile pooping. And like I've told people before, they don't believe me. I said 6 feet, and they don't think it's possible. But check the distance from here to there.
Yeah, I think got some people on the ground. This is
no,
it's
yeah. It made it all the way to that light tripod over there.
Yeah.
6 feet. And why would a bird need to poop 6 feet away? Well, as a nestling especially, they need to keep that area. Remember, they're eating meat. So the byproduct, their poop, is quite odoriferous, quite smelly, quite yucky. So instead of mom and dad having to clean the nest, if they aim, lift, and shoot, it keeps the area clean.
Interesting. I thought it was almost like to mark your territory.
Oh, no.
That's dogs.
Yeah, that's your dogs. Sometimes the cats, yeah. They just want to keep their nest area clean because the amount of meat they consume a day, it would be absolutely disgusting by those nests.
It's interesting that they're aware of that. They're aware of knowing that this is our diet. So that's, they're clean.
Correct.
That's nice. I also really like how he's really jumpy. It seems like every little move you make, he's like, what is that? What is that? What's going on?
That is actually now very exciting for us because he's now seeing, right? Eyes like a hawk, and he's curious. Before, this bird would have been like a vegetable a bit, right? That's the problem with the poor diet. And it applies to animals as well as human beings. The poor diet creates developmental issues. And we've seen it a lot with our children today because of the interesting, colorful diet that they have, for want of better words, right now. So it's creating problems. It's suppressing some of their natural spark and stuff like that, and curiosity. But with a good diet, this bird is now, he's looking at everything. And that's what it does. So you would drive past on the Arima Blanchisseuse Road, the North Coast Road, And if you're not driving, hopefully, and you sit in the passenger seat and you're looking around and you see on an old dry up tree at the very top, you'll probably see this bird just sitting there, just like this. And if you pass back after you bathe on the beach for a few hours and have fun, you will see the bird probably in that same spot. And you'll probably say, that bird didn't move yet. And it's possible that it didn't, but it probably would have circled around and came back to the same spot. That would be his spot for hunting and for scoping out his prey. He's doing his sentry from that spot. And they don't like to fly a lot because that's taking energy. So they will stand and they use their eyes, because he has eyes like a hawk, and literally just scan the area until he finds something that he thinks he can consume.
How much food would he eat in a day? What does he look for to hunt?
Well, his favorite food would be lizards. Right? And after that, it would be snakes. So reptiles are his cup of tea, literally. So you'd swoop down, grab an iguana from in a treetop, and even as big as this bird is, the amazing thing with this bird, it's amazingly agile with its wings. So it can fly in between tight spaces, literally turn itself like a fighter jet, get in the tight spaces, grab the iguana, and take off. And I had actually the honor of seeing that happen. At our last location, we had an outdoor sink where we would wash the rats and mice equipment. And I was there doing just that, a whole lot of sardine cans, washing out, a monotonous task. And I looked out and I saw this amazing, beautiful, big iguana in the tree. And I'm saying, oh my gosh, what a big, beautiful. And before my mind could say iguana, a white hawk burst down and just grabbed that iguana, and in one swoop, right back up and took off in the distance. All I saw was the iguana's tail spinning as the white hawk flew off with it. And I was like, holy crap. These are moments I wish I would have had like a GoPro strapped to my head or something, because you do not see that in real time like that there so often. But that is what their natural food is. So some people call this the chicken hawk, which is really dumb, because we call about 49 different birds in this country chicken hawk. And they call that all over the place chicken hawk. There is no chicken hawk. No chicken hawk. There are birds that can eat chicken, but they can eat cat. So if you eat a cat, it'll be a cat hawk. You know. And the funny thing is, the most common bird that they call chicken hawk in Trinidad and Tobago eats fish. Osprey. So its actual name is actually fish hawk or osprey.
Right.
It will not touch a chicken, but they call it chicken hawk.
How many iguanas would you need to eat in a day?
You would probably eat one iguana a day. Well, assuming that the body length is about 12 inches or so. At least one iguana a day. Raptors have a very tough life. Very tough life. At everything being perfect and best, they will probably only get food 20% of the times that they try. That is not a good ratio at all. And if they miss now they're hungrier and they get more desperate. So the possibility of getting hit by a car, entangled, hooking up an electrical wire, hitting somebody's window increases, because as you get hungry, I'm sure you must know, Gina, your decision-making process kind of declines a little bit, because now your tummy is telling you, go, 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 and your brain is like, no, we have to go, I'm hungry. And then sometimes we make mistakes, and that's how they lose their lives. Most of them don't live past 5 years, and they can live up to 20 years in captivity. And the reason for that is because with a good diet and you remove all the risks. So imagine he goes after a snake and the snake is too big and it damages him. He then dies. He goes after iguana and the iguana sort of catches him mid-air coming in and hits him and damages his eye. He then dies. And it goes on like that. So for every damage or missed opportunity, it reduces his likelihood of longevity tremendously. So they do have a tough life. And it makes it worse when we start doing stupidness like trying to mine them.
Yeah. So would snow ever be let back into the wild?
We're hoping that he can fly, so at least we can have a flying bird. And for the most part, when we start flying a bird of prey, people don't understand is you start flying a bird of prey, they can decide, you know what, today's Wednesday, I'm not feeling to come back. And they go on their way. Because you're not flying it tethered, it's flying loose. So if you have developed a good relationship with the bird, it will come back. If the bird decides, oh, that's a nice girl over there, I go in and check she out, then, and that happens quite a lot. In fact, a lot of falconers release their birds for the opportunity to breed because it's important for the continuance. So it's not just grabbing a bird and mining a bird. There's a whole lot of knowledge, science, and understanding behind it. There is in Afghanistan where they use golden eagles they only keep them to 5. They take them at 2 and they keep them for 3 years. At 5 years old, they will release that female because she has to go back into nature to produce offspring so that the same tribe that's using the eagles can have access to babies in the future. It's called sustainability, and in some places it's just called plain old common sense. You can't empty the basket and then go back in the basket to look for more bread.
Yeah. Is Snow a male or female?
We believe it's a female because of her girth. There is no visual difference. Some experts can palpate the pelvic region, and if it's a little wider, you can probably assume that it's a female. But it could be a big male. So his pelvic, it's like saying women are smaller, right? And then, some guy who's 5'4" meets that and she's like, oh, kidoki, quite intimidated, So it's there. It varies, and it will vary also based on location and stuff like that. But if it lays an egg, I will guarantee you it's a female. That's the or we can do DNA tests. So we haven't done it yet, but we intend to do a DNA test because that's on our plan today to basically determine the sex of all our animals. So that goes into the files also. And now their behavior and patterns will match in, and we say, okay, the males display this behavior because the information is important going forward. If there's a crisis now and we need to try to save, preserve, conserve, then it's like, well, we really don't know nothing. But we've had it now for how many years, as they say, so we are in a position to know these things.
Yeah. Would it get any bigger than this, or this is full
This is
grown?
pretty much a sight. It may, if it does not start flying and getting exercise, it may become a bit fatty, develop more fatty tissue and layers of fat. So we have to modulate and modulate the diet carefully to make sure that the bird doesn't get fat. It just stays really nice and, sleek the way it should be, because with the additional weight, it will create problems on the legs, the joints, and so on. So the same problems we get, they get. So this is about full grown. Yeah, you're looking at me, it's my hand again. See that there? Yeah, this is just about full grown for this guy here, or girl. We call her Snow. And you want to show them your wings? You have some beautiful wings, and you'll see why they call it a white. Show them your wings, please. I'll give them a goner. I'll give you 2 snakes.
Look at that.
Thank you very much. Right? So the beak grows, so we have to crop it. We cropped it, so now we're waiting on a special tool because she does not like our filing tools at all to give it the more natural look. So you can see the cut on the beak there, but we want to file it and bring it and make her pretty, do a little eyelashes and a little rouge and, get her TV ready. I think she has a photo shoot coming up next month also.
Really?
Yes.
This bird is very bougie. I call this bird very, very bougie. Every little move, she's like, don't touch me. I'm better than you. I love it. I love it.
It's just great that she's responding to movements and so on like that. That is just amazing for us because literally, like I said, she was a vegetable. You could do whatever you want in front of her and she was like in her own world. She was like staring out in the sea like, hi. So now that she is responsive, it is just amazing.
When you first brought her in, I assumed it was a falcon. So I think, tell us, what is the difference between a falcon and a hawk?
Well, it's they're in the same family. First of all, birds of prey, raptors, and the falcons are usually more svelte, sleek, athletic. Their build usually is based for speed, direct attacks, air-to-air encounters. While the hawks, there are various hawks with different hunting styles, but their bodies are bigger and their wings are broader. So learning about raptors involves learning about their silhouettes. So you'll have that sharp W with points for falcon, whereas hawks have a broad, flattish wing because they're so...
an eagle.
Yes, more that type of wing, right? So a broad wing like that cannot really develop the kind of speed that a falcon has. So the falcon, and we do have one, and hopefully he'll be able to come out soon, quite sadly. It is the fastest bird in the world, so I'm going to leave it at that. In fact, not just the fastest bird in the world, it's the fastest animal in the world, and it's a Trini. Right? So you know we Trinis, eh? You know we Trinis. Because we don't mind we own business, we real fast. A different kind of fast, but real fast. And I'll tell you about my encounter with a school with my falcon at one point in time. We had one before. So we have, like, some amazing birds in this country, and each of them so unique with their stories, their colors, their behavior, their nesting, their egg. It's just amazing. And this is where money lies. Money lies in this bird, not catching it and minding it, but people will come into this country, pay money just to see it and check this off their list. Because it's so much easier in Trinidad than it is in South America. Okay, you can be right outside. And I've done that already. I have stepped outside of this office and seen falcons and hawks. Right here, basically in the middle of Port of Spain. The fastest animal in the world loves Port of Spain. And when I bring it on, you'll find out why it loves Port of Spain. And they love cities on the whole.
Because of the rats and
well, they don't really like rats.
Insects.
They like something that people call flying rats. So if you know what those are, that's
pigeons?
Pigeons, yes. Yeah, you can't use all that speed to catch a rat. That's just like using a cannon to kill an ant. You understand? It will work, but you're wasting a lot of firepower. Okay, the fastest animal in the world goes after fast-flying birds, and it hits them in the air. It hits them so hard sometimes, they are decapitated. So you see body going one way and head going another way. That is the speed. I mean, I'm talking serious speed here. Usain Bolt against this animal, this bird, is like my grandmother running against Usain Bolt. It is a no-brainer, no contest. This animal is fast. It's sickeningly fast.
So we're talking about, you're saying fastest animal in the world, so we're talking about, I mean, cheetahs.
Those are slow. Cheetah is slow.
Really?
Just imagine,
I always
a cheetah
thought
is the fastest land mammal.
Yeah.
You running on the ground is slow. If you want speed, you got to get airborne. Right? What's the fastest car? Right? Tiny speed compared to a plane. Right? So this animal is like a jet fighter. That's what it is. It's a jet fighter. And its ability to maneuver and so on there is mind-boggling. And we have that right here in Trinidad.
Wow. That's beautiful, man.
You know? So when he comes in, it's sad his story. It's because, again, people would have done what people do, really stupid things. And so this animal now is unable. It's lucky to be alive. Really, lucky to be alive. We went through a whole lot. I put a lot of pressure on our vet, doc, we really have to save this one. He said, well, I thought we have to save the one. I said, yeah, but this one is dear to me. It means so much to me, this animal. I don't encounter them enough because I see them all the time. And now to hold it in my hand, but the animal is there bleeding out and dying. It's just heart-wrenching. And that is part of what people miss with wildlife rehabilitation. It is considered the most difficult profession in the world because every day, many times a day, you have to question your decision to even be in this because it breaks your heart in a true way. It's not like, oh gosh, I'm feeling sorry for it. No, true way. Tears are shed. I have to be rubbing shoulders, putting heads on my shoulder because volunteers break down. When they took an animal to try to fix it, to make a difference, because some idiot decided to shoot it. And then you wake up 2 o'clock in the morning to give it its meds or just check on its progress, make sure it's not too warm, and then the animal is dead. And then I get that call sometimes 2:15 in the morning, the animal died, and I don't know if I continue this, and it doesn't make any sense. It's a lot of questioning, a lot of soul searching. It's not just about, oh, I like animals, I want to mind animals. That's what you see outside. What we encounter on the inside is that pain, that real, true emotion that connects us to the wild world and our true and genuine efforts to make a difference, not just for the animals, but for you and me. Me helping this bird is not just about this bird or myself, but this bird is what's going to probably help control rodents and reptiles in your area. And you will never understand it, but that doesn't mean that it should not occur. So it's a tough world out there, but we're trying to bring it to people. We're trying to get people out there to understand that this is the bigger picture. And on top of it all, we have a chance to earn a living. Right? Earn Forex. Have a better standard of living. Live healthier, nicer lives. So it all is on the plus side and no negatives to it. The only negatives is when fools do stupid things and people have to suffer the consequences of that. That's the really hard part.
So, do you plan to hold our White Hawk this morning, Jada?
Yeah, I mean, I'm using the The falconers.
No,
Yeah.
you have nice skin. You have nice skin.
I have sensitive skin, so listen. Well, can I keep the watch on? No. Take the watch on.
All right, so what we do, we'll get the perch in there first, in the middle out there. You get that perchy in the middle there. And Snow loves the perch. Go on, you perchy. There you go. And, all right, let's get this morph over there. Let's see. So I'm giving a raptor. When we do the raptor training course, this is part of what you do. First, you have to be able to handle your raptor after you learn about them. So slip your hand in there. It's going to be warm because my hand is in there. Get your fingers articulate well. Make a fist. Make a fist. Right. Strong fist. Right. So now, what you are going to do is that you are going to, and I'm just going to give a little whistle, and you push against him. Huh? There we go.
Smooth.
Ladies and gentlemen,
She's a
Jada, now you have to keep that hand strong, because if that hand goes down, she's going to be like, oh my gosh, this branch is falling. And then she's going to do that, and then you're going to scream, and she's going to go up to the light, and then the producers are going to freak out, and let's not have that this morning. Right, okay.
She has a bit of weight on her. It's actually...
All right, I have to move this away because, okay, and you can fold in a bit there and keep that strong right there. Don't worry about your face. Once you keep that arm strong, all right? I'll give you a little support below here. Right, lovely. Okay, so there we go. Raptor handling 101.
This is the first time. I'm so proud of Jada right now that she's holding the animal on air. So
you see how beauty gets you places. This is a gorgeous bird, and this is the first bird I've held on air.
So this is how it goes, folks.
Yeah.
She is so beautiful. Oh, look at she's watching me. She's watching me.
She is. I mean, this is so. But I just think would the lack of one of her talents, I believe you call it, would that affect her hunting?
It
or
probably will to an extent. A little less grip, but we've seen that happen to wild birds. Gray-line hawks do a lot of rats, and they do get bitten. And if it gets infected, they can lose that entire toe.
Yeah, that's why I asked if she would. If there's a chance of her going back out into the wild, because I assume the lack of the talent would make it difficult for her. She would technically be disabled in a sense.
It's like if you lose a finger.
Okay.
You could be considered disabled, but I feel you can make it.
Okay.
You know, I've known people who've lost an arm and they're doing quite well.
Yeah.
I've even known a young lady with no arms, and she is on the top of her world.
Yeah.
Okay, so we do find ways to overcome and compensate, and you know, it's great. It shows that it's about survival, and these animals are fighting for it out there in a tough world. They've adapted to our cities, they've adapted to our sewers, our parks, all the stuff that we throw at them. But should they really have to go through and suffer so much just to exist in a country, on an island where they existed before the first human even came in?
Yeah,
you know? So it's just fair and right. It's like us going to Mars and displacing whoever might have been there before. That's just right.
Yeah.
Okay.
You want to hold on?
I think we could. I'll hold her after. It's fine. But we can. No, you have to close off the show with.
Oh yeah,
with Snow.
Right. Yeah. You getting the last
yeah,
word.
Yeah, you and Snow. So we're gonna end here. I know we have, as usual, a quote.
Yes. So the quote for today is by one of my favorite musicians, composers, and entertainers, Lin-Manuel Miranda. It reads, "There's no exact recipe for today. Just gather up all available ingredients and whip yourself up something delicious." In other words, take charge of your own day and make it a good one for yourself.
Love that. Love that. So that brings us to the end of this morning's AM Prime. So stay safe, stay inspired, stay informed, and we'll see you back here again tomorrow morning. Oh, thank you, Mr. Mead, for joining us on the program. Of course.
Stay wild.
Stay wild.
Happy Wild Wednesday.
Happy Wild Wednesday. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, folks.
WESN.
Hi, I'm Claudette, radiographer at the radiology departments at the community hospital. We offer high-quality service with state state-of-the-art equipment in X-ray, ultrasound, CT, and mammogram. Come, our friendly staff awaits you.
Give us a call at 235-5479.
The Community Hospital of Seventh-day Adventist,
where good private health care is affordable.
The home of Caribbean content is growing, and we welcome you to be a part of the #1 platform for young personalities.